Oikawa, in my opinion, is the best antagonist of Haikyuu up until now. I haven't read the manga or anything, so who knows? Someone from the Nationals might just surprise me. But up until now, nothing got me hyped up more than the second match against Seijo. I mean, the match against Shiratorizawa had a full season focused around it, but it just never got to that level of hype as when Oikawa was serving during the second set. Two biggest factors for this are the fact that Seijo was the only team to win a really important match against Karasuno, which set up so many things for the future, and another, in my opinion, better reason, Oikawa. That's it. Oikawa. But why does hype hit me so hard whenever he's on screen? That's what we are here to talk about. As you probably could have guessed by now from my channel, my favorite aspect of every anime are the stories of the side characters or antagonists and their impact on the main cast, and Oikawa doesn't have like an incredible backstory like most characters I've talked about up until now. He more so has an amazing story throughout the current happenings of the show, and his impact on the main cast is one of the biggest in the whole series. But although his backstory isn't as rich as some, it's still pretty interesting, so let's start there. He was a setter for Kitagawa Daiichi in junior high, and even back then he was recognized as a very athletic and talented player and was regarded as one of the best setters in the prefecture. Until Kageyama showed up. And here, the whole thing of hard work versus talent started. And let's just set a couple of things clear. Oikawa is not talentless. In fact, Eva talks about him being more talented than anyone in the school at the time. And Kageyama does work hard. What is more important here are the ratios. Kageyama is more talented, but Oikawa works harder. But those kind of balance out. What is even more important is what they do both on and off the field. It was stated on many occasions how Oikawa is able to draw out 100% of each player's strength, but it wasn't always like that. In fact, at one point he was so caught up in trying to outdo Kageyama that he started misplacing balls and losing his concentration, his greatest strength. And because of that, Kageyama replaced him in a match, and since Oikawa enjoys being in the spotlight, that didn't sit well with him, and he got mad. So mad to the point that he wanted to bitch slap Kageyama right across his face when he asked him to teach him how to serve. But luckily, Iva found himself in the right spot at the right time and stopped him. After that, Iva shouted at Oikawa and explained him that he is a part of a 6-man team and that the team with the strongest 6 wins. After that, something in Oikawa's head clicked. Day after day, he worked on accommodating to his spikers and helped them reach and play at full potential. Time skipped 3 years into the future and he is once again face to face with Kageyama in a practice match, and is once again showing him just how superior he is by pointing to the person his serve is going to and hitting 2 service aces. Hype levels have just started to raise. His next big appearance is in the Inter-High preliminaries against Karasuno. And this time, losing the match had consequences. And once again, the biggest part in the match was played by Oikawa. He was the one giving his team hope in clutch situations by some crazy serve, some 300 IQ plays, and all around his personality. And that is another great aspect of him. Around him, you can't stay unmotivated. It kinda has the gym effect. You know how it's hard to train at home because you are on your own, but when you are in the gym by a lot of moderately motivated people, everyone's motivation adds up and you can't stop. Well, it's similar to that, but here we have another thing to keep in mind. Everyone's respect towards him. He is the captain, the best player, and someone with enough passion and motivation to spread it all across the country and still have leftovers. People who see that in him want to help, especially people like Eva who seem to care about him. And this really helps in really bringing out everyone's potential, and that is the biggest reason they won this match. Now, since Oikawa's character has some serious layers, I think it's time to talk about his not so respectable traits, and that ties in nicely to his next big appearance in the show, which is in his second match against Karasuno. The first trait I want to talk about is the one that you could take either way, good or bad. It can be really good, but it could bounce back straight into your face, and that is overconfidence. I just want to ask you something and you tell me in the comments what you think, but doesn't overconfidence sound like a bad trait? Yeah, and now let me know what you think of this one. You burn with so much passion that you never doubt your victory. That one sounded a lot nicer, didn't it? Is it just me? Anyway, I told you about this because they are both the same thing at their core, but looked at in a different way, depending on how it turns out at the end. As a person who watches a bunch of football, or soccer, and loves hearing what the pundits think, it always baffles me when I hear them saying, absolutely sublime, he never had any doubt that he was going to win. As well as pretty shocking in it. You would expect from a professional to know that overconfidence is a bad thing. Sorry for the accents, I'm bad at those things. I don't even know what I did. Anyway, personally, I think that at its core, it is a bad trait. You should never be too optimistic nor pessimistic when we are talking about that already. Realism with a healthy dose of optimism is what is the best, at least in my opinion. Now, the second bad trait I want to talk about is looking down on people. And listen to me, I am not saying that he took Karasuno lightly. Quite the opposite actually. But do you think that he really played to his fullest? Cause I don't. I believe that if that there was Shira Torizawa, he wouldn't only use 100% of everyone's potential, but 120%. But this was Karasuno, a club lost in time. It was in their destiny to lose to a powerhouse like Seijo. Well, look at how that turned out. Anyway, losing that match meant that his dream, which he had for as long as he could remember, could never be completed. He can never be Shira Torizawa from now on. All he was left with now was his worthless pride, and he couldn't help but ask himself, was it worth it? And that will be it for today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the like button, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe if you feel like it, and follow me on Twitter at Sexy23. And that's about it. Trigger off.